Hi guys, welcome back to the Mina Does Art Stuff YouTube channel. I'm here today to test out my Ecoline watercolour pens, or I guess they're dye based. And the little packet I'm opening now are a set of tricolours by Spectrum Noir. These are also water based. And each pen has 3 different colours in it, and it will focus in just 1 second and you'll see. So there's a botanical natural pen, a cool marine and a rich floral. And I like that you can see the little swatch of the 9 different shades, and I thought it was a nice little colour combination, so I wanted to try these out as well. I picked up this visual journal by Strathmore on Amazon recently, and it's 100% cotton. It was fairly affordable. It's a mixed media, it's got a vellum finish, and what I understand that to mean now that I have the book in front of me is that it's got quite a smooth finish. It's £90, 190 GSM, 9 by 12 inches, and there's 68 sides or 34 actual pages, sheets in the book. And here I'm going to attempt to try and show you the texture on it. There is a mild texture, but it's fairly smooth. I'd say it's like most mixed media type of papers that I've seen. They're fairly smooth with a bit of texture. It's slightly smoother than like a Canson XL watercolour paper type of surface. And since the last time you've seen me use Ecoline on this channel in a swatching video, I have purchased a few extra. So my local TK Maxx HomeSense store here in the UK has been periodically getting different colour sets of these Ecoline pens in stock, and they sell them there for like 1/3 of the price of buying the sets brand new anywhere else. So I've been slowly collecting all the different colours, and I think I now have 40 of the Ecoline pens, and I think there's like 60 in total in the range, so I almost have the full range here, which is I was not expecting that. Now from my understanding, these are dye based watercolour pens, watercolour markers, so they're not light fast. They will fade if they are put out in sunshine or in direct sunlight. So they're great for like sketchbook work or for work that's going to be digitized. So that's my main plan really, is to use these for sketching, for in sketchbooks, and not really so much for finished pieces, at least not for finished pieces that aren't going to be digitized. Anything I use these for that I plan on keeping long term will probably end up getting digitized for longevity. And as you can see here, I'm basically swatching out each colour and then wetting the swatches with a paintbrush, and they activate really well. Even though at first it looks like there's a little line left behind or a little mark from where the paint was or the pen was scribbled on, that line does dissolve as the paint, as it's drying on the paper. And yeah, it works really well in terms of how it activates, and I've really enjoyed it, and I can see a lot of potential uses for these in the future. I know they're really popular with calligraphers as well, and I do try every now and again with my hand at a bit of calligraphy, but I'm not that great at it. But maybe I will, now that I have all these pens, have a bit more of a go at it. It'd be fun for like Christmas cards and birthday cards and stuff like that to use these pens for fun things like that. They are really vibrant, and they're very transparent as well, as you could probably tell from the swatches. So they're great for situations where that is what you want. I think they'd also be great, like I said, for things like Christmas cards and things where, you know, you're not really worrying too much about the longevity of your picture, because, you know, how many people really hang on to their Christmas cards beyond just Christmas, for example. Anyway, so here I'm just looking at seeing how much the paper's warped. It's warped a bit, but nothing too bad. I was one too many twos there. Now I'm just going to swatch out the Spectrum Noir Great Outdoor Set. I'm just like writing out the labels here. Now with this lot, spoiler alert, don't like these as much, even though these are also water-based dye-based watercolor markers. There we go. They do not activate anywhere near as well as the Ecolines. Like, you can see the lines showing through underneath, especially that moss color. It just doesn't dissolve away the same. Oh, and then at this point I noticed there was a pamphlet inside the box, and there's some general color theory information included. I mean, don't get me wrong, the colours are beautiful, and I think you could do some really beautiful, like, it'd be great for florals and landscapes and basically the outdoor theme that it was going for. But the colours just don't dissolve with water very well, not in the same way the Ecolines do, and you can really see the lines from where the pen had been put down, but then compared to the Ecolines, it just doesn't even compare. Alright, so at this point I thought it was about time I did a little trial painting piece, and I'm just picking out the colours that I want to use for this little test project, as it were. I kind of wanted to put the paper a bit more through its paces, as well as play around with the pens a whole bunch more. So I picked out 6 different colours to use for this painting picture. I don't know what to call it. I don't really feel like it's actually a painting because I was using pens, but then I do use a brush to activate. Anyway, I'm going ahead now and I'm just masking off a rectangle in the middle of the page. I didn't want to quite do something the full size of the page because 9 by 12 is quite big, and I decided to do a sort of sunset gradient in the end. So I started with the lightest colour at the bottom and worked my way up, just doing patches of colour, as you can see, working my way up to the dark purple, and yeah, then I come in with some water and a paintbrush, and by the end of this you'll see I should have put a bit more of that magenta purpley colour and the darker purple colour. Should have put more of that pen on the paper before I started blending, because there just wasn't quite enough of those colours. I mean, it looks fine in the end, don't get me wrong, it looks absolutely fine, definitely not an issue, but you know, you can see it's a lot more white showing through, so I kind of wish I'd put a bit more colour down before I started blending. You'll see that I try to go in with the dark purple just to see if I can add a bit more colour there, but it just doesn't work when the paper's wet, not as well anyway. So I'm just going through and just blending the colours together with some water, cleaning off my brush periodically and making sure I'm using clean water as much as possible. And yeah, they blended together really well. And then just before I put this aside to dry, I thought I would swatch out and label the colours that I ended up using in this piece in case I want to reference it again later, so I know which colours I used. And I think I used the blue violet, red violet, carmine, vermilion, orange light and chartreuse were the colours that I chose. And yeah, so then I set this aside to dry and stamped it with the date, and I did this on the 27th of September. It is now October. Came back once it was dry, splattered on some Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. You can also use white acrylic paint or gouache or any opaque white that you'd like. And yeah, so then I'd already done this off camera, but you could just about see there I had drawn on with pencil some sort of telephone pole type things, and here I'm just painting in a little silhouette of some mountains for the background. I had a few different black ink pens picked out for this just to test and see how they work on top of the Ecoline. Now the paper was mostly dry, it wasn't, maybe probably could have left it a bit longer. I don't know about you, but I find it much easier to draw vertical lines horizontally. So I typically turn the page when I'm doing trying to draw vertical lines. I find I have a steadier hand that way. And here is where I mess up the telephone lines. You can see there, that's not where that's supposed to go. So I kind of messed up on this, but it's fine. It was just a test piece, and the rest of it was fine. It's just that first set of lines that I drew between the pole on the left and the middle pole that are just wrong. Drew on some birds, and then time for the tape peel, and that's it. I've really enjoyed this. Like I said, I think I'll probably use this technique and do these sorts of like gradient backgrounds with these pens for things like birthday cards or Christmas cards and things like that in the future. And definitely going to be practicing some calligraphy. If you have any ideas of good things that you can use these pens for, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your suggestions. I've seen a few other things online that I'd like to try out, so yeah, definitely let me know your recommendations and what you like using these brush pens for. Alright, so that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for joining today. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like it, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what else you'd like to see from me on this channel. So yeah, thank you so much. Hope you're having a great day. I'm not entirely sure which day of the week this video is coming out, but if it is near the weekend, I hope you've had a great week and enjoy your weekend, and if it's after the weekend, I hope you had a great weekend and that the week ahead is everything you hope it will be. Okay, here I'm just flipping through the pages again. I quite enjoyed the sketchbook, I will be honest. I didn't think I'd enjoy the smooth paper as much. It's definitely on the thinner side, but it'll work for a sketchbook. Alright, that's it for today. See you next time. Bye!